energy out of you. So one of the things that I always try to do when I'm in that situation is do a lot of energy work, a lot of chakra work, a lot of white light, healing. But the answer would be to separate the stories from the pain, not to add any stories to the pain, which would in essence make the pain worse, and to surrender as much as possible into the present moment and into that piece of you that is well. Because there is always that presence that is well, that does not have pain. That would be the best way that that's what I have done in the past anyways.
Beautiful. Thank you, April. And very close to what you have stated, I think in chapter 3 or chapter 7, I don't remember, chapter 2 or chapter 3, if you go on YouTube and look at the webcast, Oprah did a webcast in 2008 with Eckhart. And Eckhart, there's a woman with fibromyalgia, right? And I think fibromyalgia is the same thing. You are in that person is in extreme, excruciating pain. So she was asking Eckhart this question: what do I do to develop presence power? And he said, focus, exactly what you said, is focus on the areas of the body that are actually healed. It's not like your whole body is experiencing the pain. Focus on the area that is already healthy. And that way you can focus on something that is healing. And the other pointer he gave was go into, like, have this appreciation and gratitude for abundance, right? So he says, go to a grocery store, and she was in Hawaii. So he said, Hawaii is so well endowed with nature, right? So how are you not going to like look around and go, oh, wow, how magnificent is this? But the pointer he gave was go to a grocery store and look at the produce. Go to the produce section of the grocery store and look at the green leaves, look at the vitality and vibrancy, healthy aspect of the produce. And that will take your focus into health and nurturing yourself into trying to develop presence power. Thank you, April. Eileen, did you have any input into this?
I'm sure that I do. I missed the question because I was still dealing with children and posting in the Facebook group. So I missed the beginning of what was said.
The question that Lakshmi asked was, if we are in extreme pain, what advice do you give a person to develop presence power and they are experiencing extreme pain?
Oh, I did hear April say like surrender and like non-resistance. So I would agree with that, because I think when we accept our present moment, regardless of what it is, a lot of that additional suffering goes away. It's not that all of it's going to go away, but we tend to pile on suffering. We tend to pile on one of the parables that they talk about, like in Buddhism, is that you have that like second arrow. It's like something happens. Maybe it's, the pain in my neck from, sitting funny, whatever it is. There's these things and they happen. It's like it already happened. But then we come in with our judgment of it and our resistance to it, and it just piles on the suffering. And then that's where I think a majority of suffering comes from. It's not the actual first thing that happens. It's the second or the third thing that we bring to it. So I would say definitely radical acceptance, surrendering to the present moment. And I know I've spoken before about the fact that gratitude can change things, because I've healed myself from extreme pain that I had for 10 years just through a gratitude practice. So definitely is going to come down to acceptance.
Beautiful. So since you brought up healing, I'll bring up Dr. Joe Dispenza's testimonials, right? There are so many people in extreme pain. So that's another part to explore, is a group setting, like a retreat kind of group setting, where you can allow the healers around you to raise your vibrational frequency, so that you can raise your vibrational frequency to the one that does not have that pain anymore. And I think he also does, what I've noticed is he does something called coherence healing. He has taught his people, like the attendees that attend all the time, he's taught them how to heal. Like you can offer yourself as a Healy, and they will do the coherence practice on you, which is without touching your body. They will bring your chakras, just like April was saying, right? It is an imbalance of chakras. So they'll bring you back into balance. So
yeah, and I guess one more thing that I would mention is a lot of physical things are actually emotional. So like there's a lot of different like physical pains or physical ailments or conditions that they feel like they're, that they're strictly physical, but they're actually stemming from, unprocessed trauma and unprocessed, emotional challenges. And then when we don't deal with the emotional piece of it, it turns physical. So someone had mentioned, being able to deal with, what you might have going on, emotionally. And I know for me, I've done, like, I think I've mentioned before, like I've done cranial sacral therapy or Reiki healing, and these things can help with that kind of stuff. And at least me, I'm often surprised, but I'm like, man, they didn't even touch me. I wasn't even touched, and things just kind of disappear. But yeah, I agree.
and at the emotional level, I think at the metaphysical level, Ian Levansan says that physical pain, or when we are directly, so the physical pain is not out there. The reason why we have physical pain is because there's a strong guilt being stored in our body. So we have not worked on guilt. And what guilt does is it creates, I need to be punished. And the moment we want to be punished is when we create the physical pain. So anytime that we are experiencing physical pain, look into, use our awareness to examine our emotional field and find the guilt, because the guilt is the key to this. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I see, I think it's Lucinda on the video. Hi, Lucinda. Good to see you. And a couple more people joined, but they are not on video. Did you want to contribute to this conversation, Lucinda? Or you had a question of your own?
I understand the English, but it's not easy to me to speak, to explain.
Okay. So you're listening?
I listen, yes.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know Summer and Kathy joined as well. Do you all have any questions? Did you all want to ask any questions? I think they're listening. So the second question comes from Summer April, and it may be something that I don't know if you have an answer. Summer asked me, all these billionaires trying to go up in rockets, right? I think what's his Richard Branson, the person that owns Virgin, and Jeff Bezos went out in space. So Summer asks, is that an indicator that they want to be closer to source, so they're launching themselves in space?
Oh, and
What is-
Elon Musk?
Yeah.
I don't think that it has anything to do with being closer to source for them. No. No. I think it's it's more about exploration, and there are some people that are fascinated about creating life on Mars, which perhaps anything is possible, right? But I always have kind of felt that, well, I think that we can find out many things from space, and that there is some need for space exploration. I've just always kind of felt that our money could be better spent elsewhere. But no, I don't think that it has anything to do with getting closer to source. And then she's asked another question, which she asked me this question about the electromagnetic field and the 5D. So she's asked that. And my understanding of it, I told her, I think that this is probably a Kelly question. But my understanding is that 5D is a different frequency, which is not good for our body. It changes the frequency within the body, is from what my understanding is. And somehow all of us people and all of us light workers, we will find a way to adjust to that. But I know that for the most part, the rumor is that if you live next to those power plants or whatever, it can tend to cause things like cancer and stuff. But on the topic that we're speaking of, Deepak Chopra says that, technically we are all walking around with cancer inside of us. It only comes to life when you agree to the illness. So technically, we have all of these illnesses. It's only when we become overstressed, or we take on guilt or shame or remorse, or we stay in the past, is when these illnesses actually take action. The other thing is that when we're talking about the human electromagnetic field that goes out from the body, it can be 3 foot. Some people, it's even more than that. The idea is that the illness takes place in the energetic field first. And when your energy is not maintained, such as with gratitude, surrender, acceptance, that it makes its way to the physical body. So if you do energy work and clearing and gratitude and surrender, then you will ward off these illnesses. I kind of went off topic there a little bit, but the answer is no, I don't think that they're trying to get to source. Not these people anyways.
I think she's asking, how about people who work night shift? Does that damage your mind and body?
So this is a topic that I haven't necessarily researched, but I can tell you from working with people who have worked, and I myself worked second shift once in my life. It was horrible. I worked second shift for GM, and it was absolutely horrible. The people, so we have circadian rhythms that are linked to our moon. and our sun and our tides and our water. And people that work those night shifts, they're out of sync with the natural flow. And I do think that it does cause issues with them. And I can tell you from the people that I've worked with that work on those shifts, they tend to have several issues, and especially have issues with feeling well, with being tired, with having energy, all of those things. So I do think that some people are able to adjust. I know people that have been on night shift for 20 years. And I think that there's a point where the body does surrender and adjust. But for the most part, my answer is going to be yes, it does. It does affect the body. We have a natural flow for a reason, right?
Thank you, April. I agree. We had a team in India when I was working for a company, and the team in India worked like matched our hours. So it would be like when it is 8 a.m. for us Eastern time till 5 p.m. and they would go beyond 5 p.m., right? 6, 7 p.m. So it would be nighttime for them, which would be 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. till 5, 6 in the morning. And one of the people that I know within a year or two had liver failure. So the circadian rhythm that April is talking about, we, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, right? Our head is the North Pole, our lower body is the South Pole. So we are an electromagnetic frequency. I mean, a magnet ourselves, our body is a magnet. And then we align with the North and South Pole, depending on Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere. So to explain this is, in India, we do like a clockwise, we go around the temple clockwise, like that's the ritual, right? You go, you visit the temple, like inner sanctum of the temple, then you go around the temple, like you circle the temple. I don't know how many times, I've forgotten, because I did it as a kid because my best friend dragged me to the temple. But what Sadhguru said is you go the other direction if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. You don't go in the same, like if it is clockwise in the Northern Hemisphere, you go counterclockwise in the Southern Hemisphere. You don't walk, even doing the circling of the temple, you don't do it in the same direction. So we have to be cognizant of that. That are we in the Northern Hemisphere of the planet or the Southern Hemisphere? How are the poles acting? The same way he says, don't sleep with north-south, don't sleep north-south, because the poles will just pull your, the magnetic field of the north and south pole will pull your brain and the blood vessels. So it could be that you can get a brain hemorrhage. Like if you don't have like good blood flow, that person can get a brain hemorrhage just by sleeping north-south, because that's like 8 hours you're in the wrong direction. So always sleep east-west, he says. Eileen, did you want to talk about this? And then there is another question, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple questions. Hold on a second, because someone just asked a question on the post saying that they need to leave, and was wondering if we're all answering live questions. So we are answering questions live now, but the video will be available after. So if they're hearing me say that, they'll at least know that they'll still be able to hear their answer, even if they're not.
Thank you so much.
Here. So I did have something to add, actually, a couple things. So one thing is, in my schooling over the last year for becoming a meditation and mindfulness teacher, you are welcome. The person said thank you. One of the things that I learned about was the electromagnetic field around the body. So how it relates to the heart, to the brain, and various parts of the body. But when I was doing my, readings about that section, not only did it mention something that you said about it, reaching out even further than us, it also mentioned how the frequencies are different for like the different organs. So even though most people, humans, would think that that the brain is probably the most powerful or most, higher, it's not. It's the heart. So the heart is the most powerful of all of the organs. And I just pulled out my notes from that, and it was looking at it. It says that the brain and heart generate an electromagnetic field resonating at frequencies of about 1 to 60 hertz. The heart averages 7.8, and the brain typically functions in the 10 to 30 range. But when I was talking to someone about this before, we have to remember that the higher numbers isn't like higher, like vibration. So like, even though it seems like the brain is higher, it's not, it's actually the opposite. But the other thing I wanted to mention was something that came up in the last question, and I forgot to say, was the healing of group meditation, because that was one thing that changed things drastically for me. So a few months in, after doing individual, like my own meditation practice, I started doing weekly meditation, group meditation within this group. And that energy that comes from meditation that we usually have like our own, when you do meditation, it doesn't matter if it's distance, because we do meditation over Zoom. There is no like limit to energy. Like we're all connected, that, magnetic, that field. And so I found that participating in those group meditations was actually very, very healing. And it wasn't just the emotional piece of it. It was, all of it. Physical, mental, emotional, all of it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Eileen.
You're welcome.
Did you want to read the next question? Thank you.
I can, there's 2 more questions.
Oh, okay.
Bring over, but let's see.
Let me see.
I think we have Diane asked, how about babies that get cancer? Because I know before she had sent that, someone here had mentioned cancer. So I'm not sure if she's referring to like what was being mentioned in the video, is my thinking, possibly.
April, did you want to respond to it? Why do babies have cancer?
Yeah, it goes with the other question that's on here from Nazin. How do you say that?
Nazanin?
Nazanin. It goes with that question, the spiritual reason behind cancer. So there are 2 scenarios where a baby will get cancer. One is that, and I'm hoping to investigate the reasoning behind it. Okay. One is that there is, because again, we are dealing with the physical body. While we are souls and we are spirit, we have that connection to source inside of us, we are still dealing with a physical body, a human body. So one is that there is some sort of genetic disorder or genetically, physically, something wrong with the body. And the soul then chooses to come into that body knowing that the baby is going to be born with the cancer. The second reason that somebody gets cancer is because of the not healing, not letting go, not practicing acceptance, not practicing surrender, overstressed, anxiety, worry, problems, all of that. So there's two reasons. One, you can be born with the disease or the genetic disorder or the illness, and your soul on the other side before you come over here chooses to come into that body, knowing before you come here that you will have these issues, such as I've talked before, like my daughter coming into this world. My youngest daughter is deaf. And many times I thought, why? Just why? Why? Why do that to somebody? Why would you do that? And we found that it was a genetic disorder, that both my husband and I had the gene, even though we didn't know the gene existed. But yet my daughter's soul still chose to come down and be in that body. And that choice is something that is made pre-birth. It is made before you come here. So this is in the cases of babies. It can still be the case when you are a teenager or an adult, or even elderly, that your body was going to have this disease because it runs in the family or whatnot. But as you get older, most likely the reason that you got the disease is, one, because it was either put in your spiritual path because there's certain lessons to be learned from it, or two, because you're holding on to old garbage that you have not healed. Those are the two reasons that they're there. So there's another question here where they're asking to, they got it in their senior year and I'm hoping to investigate. So before you come here, you make a soul contract on the things that you want to learn in this lifetime. And in order to learn the lesson, getting cancer for you as a soul was one of the agreements that was made, because your soul knew that there would be certain things that you would learn out of getting that disease, disorder, illness, whether it's a broken bone, you lose a leg, anything like that. So.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, April. And Eileen is not here. She's back. Did you want to respond?
Sorry, I never got to eat dinner.
Okay.
We've had a strange day here today. So that's why my video was off. I think we've talked about this topic a few times about childhood like illness and how that relates to our soul contract. I don't think I have anything to add. The person who asked the initial question, though, did say, I do think you are correct, but I think also another reason is we need to realize all the yuck that we put out into the world and universe affects everyone. So let's see why she's adding that. And then the other thing she mentioned was that her son, although she was asking about cancer, her son had cerebral palsy from birth. And I know we've talked about that on here too. So.
Beautiful.
I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you, Eileen.
Mm-hmm.
And this topic is really sensitive, and again, it's something that needs to be handled with some sacredness, right? Because babies it's not understandable that how can a little baby suffer. I've known a coworker who had a baby with a hole in her heart. So at newborn stage, like within 10-15 days of being born, she had to go through heart surgery and has had to go through heart surgery every so many, like they put a spring in her heart to keep it open, that valve open or something. And they have to go through multiple surgeries ever so often. So like a 10-month-old, maybe a 2-year-old, at 4 years old, different stages. That daughter had to go through quite a few surgeries. So as April says, it is the soul contract of the soul choosing a body that is weaker so that it can go through the spiritual lesson of how do I overcome the transcendence there. If he were to take Eckhart's teachings would be is surrender, learn how to surrender. Like Eckhart, and I'll post the video on this particular, wherever this video is posted, I'll post the video that we have recorded from, I think it was the Conscious Manifestation course in year 2019, where a person with stage 4 cancer asked Eckhart this question, what should she do? And what the way Eckhart says is, look what that illness did. The illness has brought you to the state of grace, that all you can do is surrender and live on the razor's edge of the present moment. There's nothing else to do but live in the present moment. So that is the grace, that is the blessing behind the illness. So that is the blessing behind the baby's illness. That is the blessing behind the, if you're a teenager, growing young adult, then that is the blessing behind the illness, is now I'm on the razor's edge of the present moment. I'm going to live my life present moment to present moment. The second thing I would say is Dr. Joe Dispenza, actually, again, there are quite a few remissions. There are tumors, there are brain tumors, people with multiple tumors, people with orange-sized tumors that have had remission with Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation. So please do, Nazneen, please do explore his progressive workshops, because there is, what Eileen said, there is a totally different experience with group meditation and in group healing than we ourselves generating consciousness, right? Because we don't know, I don't know what part of the city or what part of the world you are. We are not in living in the Himalayas, right? If I was sitting on top of the mountain in the Himalayas, and there's a mountain there called Mount Kailash, which is supposed to have great vibrational frequency. The moment you get there, your already vibrational frequency has risen, right? So we are trying to raise our vibrational frequency, but the city and the family where we are is not helping us with the vibrational frequency, which is the presence power. So it may help to be on a retreat. We are going to offer another workshop. You're more than welcome to attend the workshop that we will have in November. We had really good success in, like last weekend with the September workshop. The reason being, now, why does a workshop work more than a group meditation? This is how Dr. Joe Dispenza explains it, right? So we're used to doing things every day. Like we wake up, we get coffee, we shower, we get in the car, go to the work, do our work, come back, watch TV. It's day to day we are doing that, right? On Saturday, we are sitting in front of the TV, watching a football game or whatever you may be doing on Saturdays, right? Or hanging out at a bar. But when you do a workshop for 7 hours, there is the leader, the session leader is bringing you back. Each session leader is bringing you back to the present moment, right? So you got that 7 hours one day. Then you did another, you started another, the next day, your vibrational frequency from the previous day. So for us, Sunday meditation was like incredible. And I know why the Sunday meditation was incredible. And I am like infinitely grateful to all the session leaders of Saturday, because they prepared the vehicle for Sunday, right? They already knocked the ego out. They already brought everyone to surrender. And so when we had Sunday meditation, it was like an enormous release. So that's why a workshop or 7-day retreat, you're putting your phone down, you're withdrawing, you're taking your attention back. This is what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. you take your attention where it's leaking. Your attention is leaking on your phone, your attention is leaking on your child, your attention is leaking on your partner, your attention is leaking on that obnoxious coworker that you can't stand. Your attention is leaking on all the people around you, your neighbor, your annoying neighbor that puts on loud music. How much is our attention leaking? And what a retreat does is it pulls your attention back. And that's why the intention for the workshop is that, so that you'll have the 7 hours of being in the present moment, like the session after session after session, you're coming back into the present moment, and then see how it transforms you. Because that's what the body is, right? It's out of sync. The chakras are out of sync, and you need to get in alignment. The word that Dr. Joe Dispenza used is you need to get into atonement, at one-ment, alignment. That's what we are seeking. And that's why the disease was given. Where can we come to forgiveness? Where can we come to gratitude? Where can we be grateful for this experience? Like complete every pore, every cell of your being be in the state of gratitude. That thank you for giving me this lesson so early on in my senior year. I want to learn as quickly as possible how to be awakened, right? Right, April? Thank you. Eileen, did you want to ask the next question? I don't even know what the order is, so thank you.
There was a question, I think, that actually April already read and answered about the had to do with cancer also, talking about investigating the spirituality, like healing behind. But so I think she already answered that, and we kind of took care of it. But then I thought there was one more. Hold on a second. Gotta go back. Maybe there wasn't one more. I thought there was one more. No, I'm not seeing it. Let me look back on Facebook. Maybe it was on there.
Okay, as you're looking back, I'll give you, I don't know if I mentioned, I don't remember mentioning this. Iyanla Vanzant said, cancer at the metaphysical level means deep-seated rage. So somewhere between what April was saying, right? Generationally, look at your family. Has there been deep-seated rage? And now you're born as a child to family members that have held on to resentment and rage. And now our job is to unlearn that, right? So that's another pointer that I wanted to give.
There actually isn't another question, but one of the people who asked a question before had added something separate in response to what you were talking about meditation.
Okay.
And she had said, I was just getting ready to answer, but I'll put it on here. We're already in constant meditation. Look what's happening. She said meditation is constant. And I was just replying there that meditation can be constant, but meditation isn't necessarily 24/7 and constant for everyone. We have to be conscious. And so many humans are not. So I don't think meditation is really constant for everyone. That's my experience anyway. I think we can. I think it's possible.
So what is the question, Eileen?
It wasn't a question. She was
It's just a
responding
statement.
to something that was said. Because you mentioned group meditation. She said, I think group meditation is wonderful, but only if performing an agreed upon task. Also know who you're meditating with. She said, we're already in constant meditation. Look at what's happening. Meditation is constant. I was just responding to that meditation can be constant, but meditation isn't necessarily a constant for everyone. Many people are unconscious. They're not in meditation all the time.
Beautiful.
Sorry. I hope I wasn't confusing. I was trying to
No,
read
no.
it from there.
Your answer is perfect. April, you want to answer that? Meditation is constant, and I think it's like a little bit of a judgment of meditation, right? So go ahead.
Well, I think what she's trying to point to is that there are some spiritual teachers out there who have said, when you are focusing on something at work, you are in meditation. When you are driving down the road and you don't realize, you're like, oh, I'm at this spot already. How'd I get here? You're in a meditation. So I think that's what she's saying is, look, we are in a meditation constantly. But like Eileen is saying is, it depends on what the focus is. It depends on what the intention is of the meditation. Is it conscious meditation that's towards wellness, gratitude, healing? Or is it that we are just being sucked into our everyday? And I also think that perhaps she's hinting towards, what's going on in our world at this time of, being drug into that as well. But healing meditation that is purposeful has a healing intention to it. And I think we are actually more doing what Joe Dispenza says, where we are unconsciously living our lives, just repeating patterns. We get up, we do the same thing. We are not mindful of our thoughts. We do not stop to take that 2, 5, 10-minute meditation to set up our day, to set up our intention for the day. We just do what we've always done, and therefore we live the same life. Joe Dispenza is actually one of the reasons that I started this. What I'm doing, the online thing, is because I wanted to be able to go to one of his retreats. That was my goal. That is my goal. I wanted to go because I myself have, physical pain and things, and I wanted to go to one of his retreats, and they're quite pricey. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go online. I'm going to start teaching people. And he is correct. We are very habitual by nature, and we do the same things every day. So while it might be a form of meditation, it is very unconscious. Like Eileen is saying, it's not conscious, it's habitual. We are creatures of habit. We just are. We just are. And so if you want to be well, get well, heal, make change, then your mind needs to be focused on the positive energies, the positive healing. On your intent needs to be on creating your world, your day, your health the way you would like it to be, versus just waking up and blindly going through your day. So
Beautiful, April. So should I read the follow-up question, Eileen? You want to read the follow-up? She said something great.
There's actually a lot of follow-ups. I'm having a hard time following them all. I just want to add something that Christina said, because she said being aware and present is meditation. And I think that's what I was trying to say.
Did Eileen?
And that isn't Christina.
What? 1 second, Eileen. I think you froze for a few minutes. Was it just me, or was it everyone?
I'm sure it's me, because I've been having technology issues all day.
Okay. So if you want to repeat, please. Sorry about that. Thank you.
I read what Christina said. She said being aware and present is meditation. And I was saying that that's kind of what I was trying to get across, is that yes, meditation can be everything, but it's not unless we're aware of it in the present moment. You can't If you're not aware of what's going on, like April just said, then that isn't meditation, because you're not going in and being aware of, everything that's happening in your present moment. So I was just adding that. And then Diane did ask a follow-up question, which I'm going to get off of here because I can't find it over there. She said, I have a question for Dr. Poonam. We are in constant meditation. A lot of us not aware of this. Yes, to create a designated meditation is wonderful, but first understanding meditation is important before you choose group meditate. What do you think, Doctor?
I think Eckhart would call it, this is resistance of the mind. Because this is like adding a narrative to something that is very, very simple. We are analyzing, if you have so many sentences and so many words about it, then we are analyzing it and we are adding, this is what he calls, we are adding the baggage of our narrative, right? This is like a pure example of adding the narrative to something. Look at the naked isness of the present moment. What is it? What is meditation? One, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, the Western world has, one of the things we have to know is if we are in the West, we are going to, the collective pattern is a resistance against the word meditation, because we are going to associate it with, oh, that's a very Buddhist kind of thing, or that's going to be our limiting belief, that meditation is not something that works, right? And now we are going to be stuck with that mental position, and we are going to defend it, that, oh, meditation does not work. But let's see, what is meditation? In truth, meditation is what, when Eckhart says, be in the present moment, he does not actually mean be in the present moment. What he is saying, raise your vibrational frequency. He is the experience of the present moment is a raising of the vibrational frequency. And the way he explains it we recently went through School of Awakening, and the School of Awakening students will know, during the closing retreat, he almost says that it's almost like an there's a buzz. So can you experience your presence as a buzz within you? Do you feel the buzz in your hands? Do you feel the buzz? Can you feel the tingling in your hands? Can you really experience your presence power? That is what meditation is, or that is the state that we are achieving during meditation. And I could definitely, when we did the Sunday meditation, something happened during that group meditation. I could like almost feel like my right hand, it was like it was on, there was a whole different, leave it on the whole body, the right hand was like completely, like it was getting jolts of energy through it, like as though I was getting an electromagnetic shock throughout my right hand. So something happened during that meditation, and that's what we need to trust, that this group has been doing meditation for 2 years. We are a group that gets together and has been getting together for 2 years. There's implicit trust in each other. We've raised the vibrational frequency of each other for 2 years. So that's where the healing is. And if she has a son that is having, is differently able, So that's another coherence healing, right? How do you raise your vibrational frequency? And now you direct healing to how are you going to heal the other, right? You can heal the other, but if your vibrational frequency is not raised, so that may be the confusion, that you're not able to understand that it is about raising vibrational frequency, that you have to experience. And then when we are speaking, yeah, I'm speaking, but in the background, I can still experience the vibrational, like I can feel the energy in my hands. Like I can feel that buzz in there is, and that is the joy. Like all Sunday, after we finished the workshop, I could feel that high buzz, like that exalted joy. I have not experienced. I've been to Hawaii, I've been to Colorado, I've been to Breckenridge, up in the mountains. I've been everywhere. The joy I've experienced on Sunday, indescribable joy. When Eckhart says Satchit Ananda, that day was Satchit Ananda. I have not experienced that kind of blissful feeling ever in my life, ever. And I've done enough meditations, and I've been to enough experiences in my life, traveled the world, gone to London, traveled everywhere. There is nothing that can explain what that bliss is. And that's what we are trying to hit. And that's where the group meditation helps. And that's what Eileen is saying. It is a totally different experience when the group is so entrained together. And that's where the healing comes. And that's why I keep asking the group, please join us in group meditation, because the more of us that get in sync, the more healing will happen. We'll heal each other of our pain body. We'll heal each other of our pain. We'll heal each other. And then we can, if more people join, we'll heal more people. So that's where the healing comes. And that's what the meditation is about.
That's something that I wanted to mention, because I know a couple times on here, people have mentioned like needing to know each other, or, you know, like, I guess the whole idea of needing to know each other. But I just want to point out that, like, I didn't know any of you when I joined, and I had a feeling of healing after my first session. I don't know if you remember that session, Poonam, but I had a cough that I had for like 3 weeks. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't unmute myself to share because I can't talk without coughing. And it was gone in an instant. Like the cough was like gone. And actually, I haven't had a cough since then. I haven't had a cough in like over 2 years probably now. But like, people come to our group meditation all the time that are new. People come and we're like, oh, that's a new name or whatever. So people come who don't necessarily have that same feeling with us, but then get connected into that energy while they're there with all of us. And then they come back.
Simon, who has, what is it called? Aphantasia?
Oh, yes, we have aphantasia.
Aphantasia. He cannot see images. And there was one time we were in group meditation, and I remember it was the Golden Light meditation. He was on a plane from Melbourne to Sydney, and he said he went into meditation on the plane and he saw green, which is the heart chakra, right? Green light.
Yeah.
He saw green light during his meditation, and all we were doing is we were meditating. He knew we were in meditation at that point in time, so he joined us. Quantum field, we are interconnected. It's, the power is all around us.
Mm-hmm.
It's within
us.
us.
Connected to us, and he was able to like connect into that even though he wasn't on the call with us. I remember that. I have to jump off, and I apologize.
You have to leave? We can end I think even April has to leave, right?
Okay.
Is that correct, April? Okay, so we can end the session early today. I'll let Caesar know that we already ended the session. since all of you have to leave. Much love to everyone. Thank you so much for like the flurry of questions. It was incredible. I'll see you all next week, and I'll see the people for group meditation on Friday. Thank you. Good night. Bye.